It has been a year in the making, and we are here with the Red Cup Review, your host, Rob Banks, and we are in the headquarters, officially, of the Red Cup Review. This is the Lair, the Lair.nyc, for those of you that want to check it out online. And I am here with a good friend of mine, a great artist out of New York City. Introduce yourself, buddy.
You just did it. You just did the whole thing.
I didn't say your name.
That's all I got. Jesus Marquez, New York City artist.
That's it. That's all he's got. All right, the interview's over. No, seriously, so tell us about your art.
I'm a cartoonist, obviously from New York City. I've done some work for Upper Deck. I've done a few card sets. Infinity War, I just finished that one. Thor Ragnarok, and Marvel Annual 2017.
Nice, that's really cool. So you're these are like, you doing the whole set or just like select cards? Or?
No, I do sketch cards, so I do 40 cards per set.
Oh, so like it's one of those things where they're like chases. You can go and buy yourself a
Absolutely,
card,
yeah.
and a pack and get one of your cards, right?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, right? So go out and get yourself some Epic Deck cards, brother.
Or go on eBay, because the vultures already swooped them up and posted them up there.
Not us.
All right, so or first of all, before we get into like who your favorite character is and stuff like that, what got you into drawing?
Yeah, it's a weird question because people ask me that all the time. There wasn't really like one thing that got me into drawing.
Right.
I just always drew. It was just something that I did as a kid, and it never left me. I've always had a goal and aspiration, even as a child, to draw. I always knew.
Who's your favorite character to draw?
I like the. It's gonna sound funny to say this. I like the thick bruisers.
Okay.
Like the thick men. I like thick men. But like the big bruisers, like the Thing. It's
right.
fun
Okay.
to draw the Hulk. Olmec is a.
I was going to say, where's the DC one? You got two on Marvel.
I'm not too big on DC. I mean, I appreciate DC. Obviously, there's certain corners of the DC universe that I appreciate more than some. But most of them are just the Kirby characters.
How'd you get involved in the Upper Deck thing?
Yeah, I guess a shout out is a friend of mine named Jamie Cosley. He's a cartoonist.
Okay.
He does some stuff for Star Wars magazine, and I noticed that he did a few card sets. I don't remember what he did at the time. I know he just did some Stranger Things, and I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I couldn't find any information about it online. So I just hit him up, and he was nice enough to point me in the right direction. And I sent my information, and I got an email back that same night.
Nice. So you have like, I guess, a book or like a folder of like PDF files of like your stuff, like that you would be able to send into the company. Obviously, like check out my work.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I send them my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So my Instagram is set up to just essentially be almost like.
Isn't that crazy that nowadays you could just like the way the social media channels work? It gives you the opportunity, especially if you're an artist or a writer or something like that, to instantly get your stuff out there without having to put together the traditional portfolio or something like that.
It was just the easiest thing to do, and I have a lot of work there. I have a few years' work, so.
Very cool. So you had a lot of stuff to thumb through. Go and get yourself those Upper Deck guys. All right. So on to the fun stuff.
Or buy from me directly, because I don't get anything for those. I already got paid for those cards.
Oh, there you go. Well, so tell them how to reach you, man.
Instagram, the Jesus Marquez at Instagram. That's my handle. You can friend me, you can follow me.
Well, they're gonna have this on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, it's lovely.
So we'll have all that.
This is a professional outfit.
Okay, so who's your favorite artist of all time, and why is it the King Kirby?
Yeah, I wish I could sit here and like be like the smartest guy in the room and say that I've always loved Kirby. But I didn't. I took an education to appreciate Jack Kirby's artwork for me, and I got into Kirby late into life, probably in my mid-20s. The first real piece of Kirby work that I read was The Demon.
Nice.
And it was when DC did those omnibuses, when they first collected all of Jack's work together. And I had heard about Jack. I mean, you can't love comics, you can't read comics without knowing about Jack. His his thumbprint is very pronounced throughout, especially Marvel.
I could see his influence in some of your works because I notice. Let's see if you have it here. Yeah, a little bit here with like the way the characters are a little twisted. Jack had that ability to kind of make the characters look like they're always in motion. Yeah. It was always some kind of crazy action shot or.
That's what drew me to his work was. It went through his filter, right? Like anatomy, energy, life went through his filter, and it's bombastic. It's in your face, and I tried my best to kind of ape that. I heard a quote someone say like, you can try to draw like Jack, but you can't think like Jack.
Right.
Which is so true, right? It's
I mean, he turned around and was able to get like he created so much stuff, like from just the ether. You know, he pulled it out of his head and stuff. But this ain't about Jack. We love Jack Kirby, but this was
yeah. I could sit here and talk for hours about Jack Kirby.
So who's your favorite modern day artist? Like, what do you? All right, you know what? Better question.
Wow.
Hold that one in the bank.
Okay.
But when you get ready to draw a comic or a cover or a picture, or you want to, like, what do you do for inspiration? Do you put on a certain type of music? Do you read a few issues of something? Do you look at classical artwork? Like, what draws you to kind of get in that, like, I'm going to sit down and create something right now?
It depends what I'm drawing. It depends on the project that I'm working on. If I'm, what I do is I do warm-ups for anything I do. If I'm doing a sketch card, if I'm working on sequential art, I have to kind of get my head in the right place. I have to kind of warm my hand up, I guess. It makes it sound funny. And that's what I usually do. I usually do like a warm-up, pencil, ink. Right now I'm doing what a bunch of people are doing, like Inktober.
Okay.
Which is, it helped me out a lot as far as my inking goes. I've been using like brush inking specifically for Inktober. So that's been a challenge, but it kind of helps to get you in the right mindset. So it really depends on the project.
What's your favorite type of medium to use? Like, are you more of a pen and pencil guy? Do you use watercolors ever?
I'm an analog artist. I'm a dinosaur. I barely know how to turn on a computer. So everything I do is by hand. Pencil, ink, some brush work. You know, I use, primarily I use Kuretake number 55 brush pen, which is I love this brush.
Yeah, for artists and stuff that are watching the video.
Oh,
this is like,
absolutely.
This
I
is
love
the meat
this
and bones right here.
I love this brush more than I love most people. This is an amazing brush.
What's the name of that brush?
Kuretake number 55.
All right, very cool.
Definitely.
That's your inking brush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
When I want to use a brush, what I usually use for like my sequential art is I use pens.
Right. Okay. Cool. Pens. Wow. That's rough. That's cool. Oh,
it takes a lot more time.
Right.
There's a lot more freedom with this because it forces you to kind of glide, to get like certain strokes. With the pens, it's a lot more technical, so you have to spend more time, but it, has a better look to it.
The people that are going to be watching this, if they're going to hear about you at all, from what I'm guessing, they're going to know about your work from those upper deck cards, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so give them an insight into when you were creating one of those cards. Like you said, you do things in stages, right? You do your little warm-ups and stuff like that. So if somebody is watching the video and has one of those cards or wants to get their hand on one of those cards, take them through the stages that you use, as like they hired you to do this job. So how are you going to approach your first sketch card?
Well, at first I thought that they would give me like a general list. Like, these are the characters that you're going to draw. They really don't.
Right.
They give you a list of characters that you're not supposed to draw.
Okay.
And there's not that many. So like the world is pretty much the Marvel universe is pretty much open for you to draw and interpret. So I just pick a character that I like, and I really want to capture a sense of energy in the card because you have such a small space. It's like 3x3 or something like that. So what I want to do is I don't want it to look static. I don't want it to look dull. So I try to kind of get like an action shot or something very expressive, so that it's not just like a flat photo. Like, for instance, you see here, Aquaman's not doing much there, but you can see he's in motion. He's underwater.
That like you can almost, your mind fills in what the card's not showing you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So what's your favorite type of stuff to draw? Like, not necessarily character, but do you like drawing splash pages, sequentials?
I like doing sequentials.
Yeah?
I'm a little obsessive as far as wanting to tell a story, panel to panel progression, the art form and the technique that goes into that. I don't mind pinups and covers and all that stuff, but I prefer to do to tell a story.
So nice, very cool. All right, so to wrap this thing up, how are they gonna? Do we already know they're gonna reach you on Instagram? But do you take commissions?
Yeah, I do.
Someone might see this and be like, "Yo, this guy's got some dynamite art. I want to get myself a commission." So how are they gonna get the commission?
You should. This is actually an example of a blank cover that I did. A nice gentleman, very nice gentleman.
Who could he be?
I have no idea. Perhaps he's the lord of where we're at. Yeah, so I mean, I do cards. Obviously, I do sketch covers. I got a bunch of sketch covers. So if you're interested in a sketch cover, I have a ton of them.
And they would just reach out to you, and you'd probably break it down, right?
Yeah,
to like
yeah,
an email
absolutely.
Or
You
something.
can hit me up on Instagram.
Like, this is what I'm looking for. I want a sequential page. Well, of course, it's going to be, more pricey than just a splash thing or just a single sketch card and stuff like that.
Right,
so
right.
you're willing to, like, just talk to
Yeah,
what the
absolutely.
fan
I
might
mean,
be.
usually, people hit me up. They have an idea of what they want.
Right.
We talk and we go back and forth. And then once they settle on what they want, give them a price. We go from there.
Very cool. All right. What's the state of comics today? What are you reading, and where do you want to see the industry go, or what don't you like about the industry?
Oh, God.
Give us a quick.
That's a good.
Round us up.
That's yeah. That's yeah. What am I reading right now? I'm actually reading Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Okay.
That's pretty much one of the only like newer titles that I'm reading right now. Aside from that, I am reading Milk and Cheese.
Okay.
There's a
That's
collection
cool.
they just released, and I forget. There's another book, I just can't think of it right now. But I'm reading like a lot of older stuff, a lot of old Daredevil, a lot of Frank Miller Daredevil. Some older Batman stuff. I'm a big Frank Miller fan, so I'm reading a lot of his older stuff. A lot of the new stuff is not really piquing my interest,
Okay.
but
So step your game up.
you said it. I mean, but it's bizarre. I mean, we were kind of talking about that earlier. Is that you have these amazing characters, you have these mainstream characters, and you have this industry that is probably is the hottest that it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's all tied to the cinematic universe.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
And we have so many, like I said before, talented individuals, talented artists, writers, and whatnot, and it doesn't seem like they're really stretching the limits of what you can do in a comic book for whatever reason. I don't know.
Right.
That's my opinion. I think that you have a lot of people that are doing a lot more edgy work. I don't want to say quality work, but I think they're in the fringes right now. I think it's the people that are coming up that want to see this art form thrive,
Right.
and really want to push it, because you could do so many amazing things in comics.
Right.
And the fact that it's not really happening, especially with such a catalog of amazing characters,
Right.
it's kind of weird, if you ask me. But I want to see a thriving comic book industry. We already have a thriving cinematic universe and all that stuff, and the toys and all that stuff. That
Well,
comes with it.
nowadays it's like, who has time to read? And if you're a comic guy, you make the time.
Yeah, it's
but a lot
passion.
of people have that, like, oh, I gotta sit down and read comics now, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. Because if you're gonna see the movies and like the movies, you might as well sit down and read the book.
Well, there's
Half the time, the book stories are better anyway.
in my prior job, I had a comic book club, and these were a lot of young cats, and we ordered a bunch of graphic novels, and they sat down and they read them all. So the interest is there. You just have to kind of like I geared it towards the stuff that I knew that they would like.
Okay.
So for instance, Black Panther was coming out in the theater at the time, so we got the John Romita Jr. run of Black Panther, which was a nice encapsulation of who the character is and whatnot. We got Old Man Logan.
Yeah, well,
We got Infinity Gauntlet because that kind of Infinity War fever was just starting at the time. And then we kind of peppered in Why the Last Man in there.
oh, my favorite.
know what I
That's
mean?
my
So-
favorite of all time. I tell people that's the type of comic you read. People are like, oh, I'm gonna get into a comic, and they're like, I don't want to read a comic about a non-superhero character. I want to read about superheroes. That's how I was originally too. And then somebody put me onto Why the Last Man, and I was like, wow, this is something that you read. It kind of changes the way you think about the world. Those are the comics that So you heard it. You don't just hear it from me. You heard it from a professional too. All right, so go get yourself some Why the Last Man.
That's me being a professional.
Oh, look, man, you're the artist, So, all right. I'm a kid. I want to get into to drawing. How many hours do I got to draw for? How much drawing do I have to do?
Every single day.
Till your hand falls off,
so,
right?
It's so cliche, right? Because like if you ask any artist, they'll say, "Oh, you have to draw every day," and blah blah blah. And, we hear it all the time. But you have to draw every day. That's the only way that you're gonna get good,
Right.
get better. The more you draw, the better you'll get. And obviously, as you mature as an artist, you get older, whether you go to art school or not, or you just really just grind things out on your own, your mind is going to open to those things. Like I said about the Kirby stuff, like I knew he was there. and I got his artwork, and I was like, oh, that's like, you know, whatever. But it took a maturity for me to understand what this guy was doing. You know what I mean? So it just takes time.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, so why The Last Man? I'm sure you're a big fan of that. Give the guys a poll list or a recommendation, like favorite stories.
Man, I just told you that I'm not reading Cosmic Ghost Rider.
No, not right now. I mean, like okay, like a favorite story of yours, like Dark Knight Returns.
My favorite story is too, like Frank Miller stuff. I love Daredevil Born Again.
Okay.
Daredevil Born Again is just absolutely amazing. I love Dark Knight.
Okay.
I love Dark Knight Returns. I love a book called The Creature Tech by Judson Abel. What else? The Cosmic Odyssey. I love Cosmic Odyssey. You have like early Mike Mignola work where he kind of still had that kind of, almost kind of like that European vibe to his artwork. It wasn't as like straight and black and white as you know, the Hellboy stuff. OMAC, Jack Kirby's OMAC, Jack Kirby's The Demon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, New Gods and stuff like that. But for me, I love OMAC. I think OMAC is it's a weird book because it's dealing with themes that we're dealing with now, and he did that book like in the 70s.
It's like almost like when he was pulling his art from the ether, he was almost pulling from the future as well, like and all these timeless ideas and stuff like that.
That book is way ahead of its time, but yeah, no, definitely some OMAC, because OMAC is crazy good. I love that book.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving me the interview.
Oh, thank you.
You're the man. And thanks for watching the Red Cup Review. This has been Rob Banks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're here at the Lair, and we're going to be doing more videos here soon, too. So cheers, everybody, and we'll see you around.
Salud.
My cup is empty.
So is mine. Okay. I've been sipping from an empty cup this whole time. It's just a nervous twitch.